Underneath the streets of London, an army of more than 10,000 workers is building the most ambitious railway in Britain for a generation.
Okay.
Crossrail. A new subterranean train line connecting Heathrow Airport in the west to the booming city in the east.
Constructing Crossrail is like undertaking open heart surgery on a patient whilst that patient is awake.
Costing almost £15 billion, constructing this 120-kilometre link is the biggest engineering project in Europe.
When we go through this gate, you'll see there's a very different world the other side of the fence.
It's a strange, dark world. Not many people get to see it at this stage.
One of the greatest challenges, building 10 cavernous stations.
It's a good place to put your worst enemy, isn't it?
It's difficult to appreciate the scale. Trains will carry 1,500 people. The station is designed to deal with 32,000 people at peak.
Working in the heart of the city, engineers are uncovering its past.
We have come across some human remains within the shaft. It's a full skeleton at the minute.
And face a constant battle to keep London moving.
This used to be a bowling green for the City of London.
It was somewhat of an oasis beforehand in the middle of this area. I plugged myself into my headphones to try and drown out some of the noise.
This is the inside story of the epic endeavour to build London's new underground. London, Britain's business and financial heart. London has two banking districts. The historic Square Mile and Canary Wharf, 5 kilometres to the east. Crossrail's route will tie these hubs together, fueling economic growth. The new railway will pass right across London, cutting the commute from Heathrow Airport in the west into the city to 30 minutes. It will connect key mainline train stations with major shopping districts and the new city at Canary Wharf. The 40 work sites needed to build this railway are bound to cause some disruption.
I'm sure when it's up and running it'll be a marvellous thing, but I'm not sure full consideration has been given to the traffic.
It just makes more congestion, and it's the person in the cab that pays because they're sitting in traffic. London's a funny place, man. It can run smoothly and then it just gridlock for no reason. Crossrail's done a good share of that, good 60–70%. I'll probably never even use it.
But Crossrail estimates that 200 million passengers a year will. One of the biggest tasks facing engineers is to construct the 10 new central stations. Canary Wharf will be the largest on the line. Leading a team of over 400 workers here is Michael Bryant.
What we're creating here is a passenger handling facility that will deal with between 5 and 10 people per second. I'm getting towards the end of my career now, and I can't really think of a better one to go out on than this, to be quite frank.
Employment here has quadrupled over the last decade. The new railway will help ease the pressure.
This is my third tour of duty, if you might say, at Canary Wharf. I was here on phase 1 when I did a lot of the early work on the logistics, and I was responsible for redesigning the DLR station and delivering that. And it really just instilled into me how important infrastructure and transport is to the future of development.
Canary Wharf station will be 250 metres long. And Michael's team is constructing it underwater, in a dock. They sank a vast watertight concrete box to form the station's walls. Concrete pillars anchor it into the dock bed. They drained out more than 40 Olympic swimming pools of water, then dug down to create 4 floors below water level and 2 floors above. Now the team face a series of challenges to transform this concrete box into a station. First, they must build the platforms, then install the escalators and ventilation system. Their toughest task, assemble its unique roof from 1,500 timber beams that will house a public garden open 24 hours a day. The roof of this £500 million station has been designed by world-renowned architects Foster & Partners, famous for the city's Millennium Bridge and Gherkin. Canary Wharf Group, who own this site, are investing £150 million to get the station they want.
The brief to Foster, which was probably quite a brave way to go actually, was we want something that's totally different from everything else on the Canary Wharf. And I think we've got that, so they'll be very pleased. The roof will be curving and arching up over like a curved apex. It'll be spectacular. It'll be like a giant conservatory or orangery. That's the feel that we've all been aiming for.
The 200-year-old West India docks were once thriving quaysides.
These docks originally had the monopoly of handling ships and cargoes from the West Indies. Bananas for small boys, Saturday's picnic, or maybe the monkeys at the zoo.
Fruit was offloaded here from the Canary Islands, giving the wharf its name. But as ships grew in size and container ports took over, the docks fell into disuse. This vast area of land was reborn in the 1980s as the new home of the financial services industry. The site around Canary Wharf is still expanding fast today. "28 meters below water level lies the 21,000 cubic meter heart of this new structure. 4 years from now, 24 trains an hour will be pulling up at the platforms here.
It's difficult to appreciate the scale of it. The trains will carry 1,500 people. The station is designed to deal with 32,000 people at peak. And I've got to build a complete platform. That's my next objective.
Before Michael's team can start work on the platforms, they must shift 2 giant visitors.
Well, the machine you're standing next to is known as Elizabeth. She's a tunnel boring machine, 147 metres long, weighs about 1,000 tonnes. Whilst I'm very pleased to see Elizabeth here, and indeed her sister, who's sort of over my left shoulder, which is called Victoria, I should be even more delighted when they've both gone, because what I want to do is get this space back to do my work.
The 2 massive digging machines have broken through into one end of Canary Wharf station. Now they need hauling through to the other end of the station box, so they can continue tunnelling towards central London. Checking that their transit runs smoothly is second-generation tunneller Robert Birmingham.
I'm one of many Birminghams underground, or have been underground, but my dad and my brother currently work on different sections of the project. The only reason why my brother and myself are in tunneling is because our fathers were. These bad boys here is what I like to call God's roller skates. It's actually a lifting bracket that will lift the machine up using these jacks. There is then a propulsion ram at the back of the machine. There's no margin for error. As you can imagine, if one of these was to roll off these gantries, you're in a world of pain.
In charge of driving the machine through the box
It's more important than Angela Merkel.
I think so.
is Tommy Shopper.
Yeah, it's one new system. Testing by doing. In the machine, it go only this way. And when you drive too much, it fall down. That is a big problem. Okay, boys, we're ready to go. Yeah. It's okay!
Rock and roll.
Yep.
As the jacks push the machine forward, the crew must extend the conveyor belt that runs out the rear. When digging, the 2-kilometre-long belt shuttles earth dug by the machine out of the tunnel.
4 meters.
We've come through the station here at Canary Wharf, and now we're breaking to the next section of tunnel, which will take us to Whitechapel, from Whitechapel to Liverpool Street, and from Liverpool Street we'll go on into Farringdon.
Three stops west, on the edge of London's historic Square Mile, engineers are already hard at work building a new £440 million station at Farringdon. Built from steel and stone, Farringdon Station will connect the Tube, Thameslink and Crossrail together. 150,000 people will use it every day, making it one of Britain's busiest stations. Historic buildings surround this area. The Charter House is a Tudor mansion built on the site of a 14th century monastery. Engineers are digging deep shafts near these listed buildings to pump grout beneath the foundations to stop them sinking as they build Farringdon Station underneath. The excavations have led to a grim discovery.
We have come across some human remains within the shaft. We started off with a skull and then found a shoulder section, and it's a full skeleton at the minute. That's what we've uncovered so far.
I saw part of a skull come up. So I got in, got my trowel out, had a look around, and I found one. And then there were two more aligned east-west, which is what we'd expect from a medieval inhumation. We can only really tell that they're adult inhumations. In terms of what sex they are, it's very difficult to tell when you're digging them up. The skull is really fragile. It almost crumbles the second your trowel gets anywhere near it.
Some sites have up to 22 extra weeks built into their schedule to accommodate archaeological investigations like this. Crossrail's in-house archaeologist, Carve, has just 4 weeks before engineering work must resume here.
It's exciting. This is one of the first times within this immediate area that we've actually found several skeletons together. We know from historic maps and other historic records that within this area was one of the emergency burial grounds set out in the mid-14th century. But it's never been constructed on, it's never been built on, so it's very rare that there's an opportunity to really look at the archaeology of this site in detail.
The graves could be linked to the Black Death that killed up to 60% of Europe's population.
During the 14th century, particular plague outbreaks, half the population of London was wiped out. As you know, a very serious time and an awful lot of burying going on. They'll be taken back to the Museum of London Labs, so there'll be a very close scientific inspection of the skeletons, find out as much as we possibly can about these individuals and how they got here. Certainly very exciting for what we're going to find out about what happened here 600 years ago.
Detailed forensic analysis will reveal if Jay and the team have found London's long-lost plague pit. Three stops back east at Canary Wharf, construction work is beginning on the most complex part of Crossrail station here, its roof. This ambitious 1,000-ton canopy will be built from 1,500 timber beams, joined together using 860 steel connectors. The wooden frame will be covered by air-filled plastic cushions, enclosing the rooftop garden. Overseeing the German specialists who have 6 months to assemble this giant 3D jigsaw
Sprechen Deutsch.
is Irishman Phil Duffy.
One or two of our lads don't speak much English, so it helps a little bit to be able to speak a small bit. All is okay, are they? All is okay? Huh? Did you hear?
Oh, you're going to build your body over here.
Oh, get from up in one on the hoist, up in one.
Phil's not the only Duffy on the job.
My dad's up fitting one of the timber beams at the moment. Slave driver, so I am. He gets the blunt of it. Yeah, he always had an interest in following in his footsteps, I suppose.
Phil's first milestone: assemble the roof's very first arch.
If we don't have these in the exact right position, the timber elements won't fit.
Tiny bit down.
Everything has to be within the millimetre. This is like the keystone. The big crane will lift this in, and hopefully then it will slot into the exact right position. If this aligns up, the whole structure will follow through. So this will be one of the most critical lifts of the whole thing.
Prefabricating a structure away from site and then assembling it as a kit saves time and money. It's a technique that's been used to startling effect in the past. To house the Great Exhibition of 1851 in London's Hyde Park, engineers designed the Crystal Palace to be built this way. More than 1,000 cast iron beams and 300,000 sheets of glass were cut precisely to size in Birmingham, then transported to the site. The hall was big enough to house 6 cathedrals the size of St. Paul's, and it took just 7 months to erect. Each batch of wooden beams for Canary Wharf station roof is prefabricated at this factory in Austria.
No, I'm not a timber geek, I'm just a regular guy.
In charge is project manager Daniel Niebeler.
I always wanted to build timber houses when I was a kid. So I started studying timber engineering and ended up as a project engineer for big-scale glulam projects in the UK.
Glulam is short for glue-laminated timber. The beams are formed of thousands of planks, glued together and cut to size.
We get the spruce planks delivered from the sawmill and we put those into a kiln, and then we get dried down planks into our production line.
Workers scan each plank for imperfections that could create weak spots and remove those not up to scratch before gluing.
Glue will be applied onto several planks, and then all the necessary planks required for one glulam beam will be put into a big press where they will be compressed till the resin has cured. It's immensely strong. The weight to strength ratio is bigger than with concrete.
Once dry, they cut and sand the beams down to size.
This is actually already a proper glulam beam at the moment. It just has to be made good looking. Now the beams start to look really sexy. Oh yeah, we've got wood. Well, that's a top view of our Crossrail station roof. We could actually play Twister. Applying those steel parts onto the timber beams is the final step. All that's left afterwards is wrapping them up and put them on the truck over to London.
You got a knife on that little Swiss thing of yours?
The roof's first arch needs a keystone, a 2-ton timber unit that will join the structure together.
We're just about to put the centre section in place using the tower crane. We'll get everybody else out of the way and hopefully it'll go well. As you slew round, mate, that should stay same orientation. Heads up, heads up. Nice and steady, inches at a time, please, mate. Nice and steady, come down on your wire.
The keystone is in position, but it's not a perfect fit.
Just trying to locate the bolts on each corner. It's literally millimetres out.
If we have an issue here with one of these timber structures here, it means it exaggerates as you go along the building and our connections won't go in correctly. For alignment, they have to be perfect within maybe 5 mil.
Hit it properly, Robin.
You can't beat the sledgehammer at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's it. Fairly chuffed, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. I like the way you work it. Oh yeah, I think I should have been a photographer. What do you think? If you stand back and look at it, you can see the whole arch from one side to the other side now, which is perfect. This is a massive structure, like, and when it goes to plan, you can't be happier. Looking more than good, looking brilliant.
Okay. First milestone complete. 1,400 pieces of the jigsaw to go. "28 meters below dock level, Crossrail's tunnelling machines have left the station's giant box. Now contractors can get to work fitting it out. First they must build the 240-metre-long platforms. Then install the building's ventilation system and 9 escalators that will shuttle passengers down from the ticket hall to the platform level. Heading up the team is construction manager James Goonan.
I've never built a train station before, never mind one in a dock underwater. One of the big issues is actually getting our materials down here. We've got what we call a mole hole, which is a hole up there which goes up to the surface level. Without full access to the mole hole, we can't carry out any works down at this level. There's no other way to get materials down other than the mole hole.
James must thread 580 precast concrete slabs down through this mole hole to the basement to assemble the platforms. It won't be easy.
He's just following us with it. Where's he going? So how many more panels you got to go in before the escalator's all right?
There's basically 150 left to go in from the east.
Yeah, no, it's already looking good down there. It's taking shape.
Yeah, the precast is coming down as I am talking to you, Adam.
The gantry crane's going 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, and it's the lifeblood of getting the platform built. All right, nice 4 please, Rocky.
James has just 6 weeks to get the platforms in place before the escalators arrive.
The mole hole's the only way to get the escalators down due to the size and the weight of them. It'd be nice to have a bigger hole.
Two stops west of Canary Wharf, engineers are constructing Crossrail's new station at Liverpool Street. The eastern ticket hall will sit 40 metres underground. It's one of many sites across London offering a portal into the city's past for Crossrail's lead archaeologist, J. Carver.
We're just outside the Roman and medieval city wall. The historical significance of this site is it is the site of the burial ground of St. Bethlehem Hospital, which from 1600s through to about 1800 was located just nearby in Finsbury Circus.
Nicknamed Bedlam, Bethlehem Hospital had treated mental illness since the 13th century.
Have you got any idea how many individuals we've taken out in this small hole so far?
More than 50.
Because the burial ground, being a post-medieval site, is very likely to be overlying earlier levels from the medieval and possibly even Roman periods as well.
Digging deeper, the team uncover Roman skulls and pottery. Washed down to this site by an ancient river, the Walbrook.
We've got very many sites coming up where we'll be doing this kind of investigations. So we'll be undertaking works all across the job for every Crossrail site.
Liverpool Street Station will be one of several new Crossrail stations serving London's traditional banking district. Space here is at a premium. To build the station, engineers had no option but to commandeer London's oldest park, dating back to 1606, Finsbury Circus. They will need this area until 2018 for access down to the station worksite underground. A decision that's not proved popular with city workers.
It's really detrimental. It has an adverse effect on environment, and because we enjoy coming here to eat here, people come to work, they want to have a healthy life.
It was somewhat of an oasis beforehand in the middle of this area, but as you can hear, it's not really having that effect anymore.
It's annoying. It's only 5 years. In the grand scheme of things, it's not the end of the world, so.
Finsbury Circus is the subterranean gateway for construction manager Jules Boyd and his crew.
This used to be a bowling green for the City of London, and we're going to put it back like that when we're finished. A lot of people have likened this to an anthill, where you've got a very small surface, sort of a lot of busyness, but underneath it's a whole network of tunnels.
Underneath the city, Crossrail is carving out ticket halls and walkways to create the new station. Longer than 2 football pitches, the platforms connect Moorgate Tube Station to the existing Liverpool Street Station in the east. Over a kilometre of winding passageways need burrowing out to link the platforms together.
It's a strange, dark world. Not many people get to see it at this stage here. A little bit more work to do to make it passenger friendly, I must admit. It will look very different from this, I assure you. So, and hopefully it will be quieter.
Jules's team use excavators to enlarge a pilot tunnel, creating vast underground spaces that will become the platforms. Once dug out, they spray the clay walls with special concrete, called shotcrete. It contains steel fibres that make it extra tough.
You can see the fibres here, which are the reinforcing thing. Don't put your hand on there, you'll get like a porcupine.
The spray gun fires the concrete out of the hose at over 100 metres per second, turning the steel fibres into bullets.
You wouldn't want to be hit by it anyway. Steel fibres protruding from you.
Jules's second big city station build is one stop east at Whitechapel.
I come down here quite often. You find all sorts of fruit and veg that you've never seen before. Most people walk along here and they see just the blue hoarding and then some strange buildings up here. And when we go through this gate, you'll see that it's a very different world the other side of the fence.
Stretching out beneath the ground at Whitechapel will be 640 metres of platforms. Today, Jules is preparing for a major milestone. The arrival of a tunnel boring machine that will break through into the station, connecting Whitechapel to the rest of the network.
This is where the TBM is heading towards us right now. This is the bit we have to have done. It has to be right. So there is not a chance of a big slab of shotcrete head wall falling into the tunnel or anything dramatic.
The end of Whitechapel's platform tunnel is rounded rather than flat. If the tunnelling machine breaks through this thin wall, it could damage the platform roof, causing up to 1 metre of cracking. To prevent this, the team has built a solid concrete plug. This reinforces the station walls, but tougher than London clay may make the final drive into the platform harder going for the tunnellers.
It's quite exciting. It's actually coming to fruition now. And then we'll hit the wall.
There's communication so they can speak directly with the TBM driver from this tunnel. In the unlikely event that is coming through over here, we can say stop, for example.
On the other side of the wall, inside the tunnel boring machine, Dave Shepherd and Paul Haycroft drive the cutter head into the concrete plug.
You can go up to 30 on
the head's not liking being in
complete firm concrete.
We've probably got about 4 metres plus of this material to cut through before we appear in the station.
The heat from cutting through the tough concrete is beginning to cause serious problems. The crew pump extra water into the cutter head to prevent overheating. But this is creating a troublesome concrete soup.
I see on the belt there's a lot of slop going up the TBM belt. So for all the modern technology, you'll see here that occasionally we have to resort to traditional hand methods.
That's always quite exciting.
Everyone likes a TBM breakthrough, don't they?
If it's in the right place. I think these guys back here, the surveyors, are looking a little bit nervous. Well, we should have had a little sweepstake before this. We could have all put our X's on.
Like spinning the...
spinning the dog or spot the ball.
I swear the noise is coming from the right-hand side rather than in the middle. But...
we can't stand much more of this heat that the concrete's generating.
While the tunnelling machine battles the heat, all Jules and his team can do is wait. One stop back east at Canary Wharf, the new station's roof is slowly taking shape. When complete, the entire building will be longer than its neighbour, 1 Canada Square, laid on its side. The sheer scale of the station creates unique problems for its engineers.
During the daytime, as it heats up, when the sun's on the building, it will try and expand. And then at night time it would try and contract. And if the building was a single structure, the movements at the end would be so large that the building would actually try and tear itself to pieces. So we've split it into 3 sections, and that means that they can move relative to each other without causing any problems. They are kind of alive, yeah, and it's quite a living, breathing thing.
Most of the station is built from reinforced concrete. That's except for this stretch at the east end of the structure. It's made from steel and passes over a road. The steelwork also needs to take the weight of the gardens above, which causes problems.
It still behaves very differently to concrete. It could be a problem. It's something that has to be allowed for in the design of the roof, because otherwise the roof isn't going to behave as it's designed.
This steel section will be more flexible than the concrete either side. If the team built the roof across the steel, then added the soil and trees afterwards, the extra weight could cause the steel to sag, pulling the timber roof down. So before they build across this section, they must pre-stress it, loading it with 300 tons to simulate the weight of the gardens. Only then can they build the roof. When they remove the weight, the steel will temporarily spring back up until they landscape this area, which will push the steel back down, leaving the roofline perfectly level.
We needed 300 tons. 300 tons is quite a lot of weight to add, but it needed to be done in a way that we could take it off easily afterwards. So we came up with the idea of using paddling pools, and it looked kind of cool having a load of swimming pools on top of the roof. It went on in August, so it looked quite inviting at the time. Now it's November time, it's not quite so nice. You can see the water here actually, it's quite manky. Now the steelwork is preloaded with the swimming pools, it's safe to build the roof on top of it.
You're now pretty certain that that will fit in with all the glue lamp you've got?
With the pools in place, Phil's crew can continue piecing together the roof across the steel section of the station.
We have 5 mil tolerance there with.
I'll adjust it and then you come back and reserve it.
Okay.
Make sure it's all right.
With another 200 pieces of the jigsaw locked together, they can pull the plug on the pulls.
The floor is going to lift very slightly, and it's going to take the roof up with it. And then when we add the park landscape on later, it will push it back down, and the roof won't have any extra stress in it.
At the new Farringdon station site, Jay Carver's team of archaeologists have uncovered 25 skeletons. They think this was the site of an emergency burial ground for victims of the Black Death, and are waiting for confirmation that they found London's long-lost plague pit.
This burial ground has long been referenced in historical documents. I mean, literally for 600 years it's been talked about, but it's never been found. We're hoping to find out some crucial questions about those skeletons we found. Precisely what date they are. Can they be linked to the 14th century outbreak of Black Death?
Jay sent the skeletons to bone expert Don Walker for forensic analysis.
So this is one of our individuals from Charterhouse Square.
Yeah, this is one of the ones we've been working on, one of the 25. You'll see nothing on the skeleton of a Black Death victim that reflects that disease.
Right, so we have to look much closer and microscopic.
Yes, so what we do is sample the teeth.
The teeth are a microbacterial time capsule. The plague's DNA becomes trapped in the roots.
We sent off a tooth to have a look. They sequenced the DNA and compared them to various diseases, including Yersinia pestis, the plague, and they found some matches.
It's pretty incontrovertible, really, that that's what we're looking at.
It seems the evidence seems to fit with that, yes, certainly. The chances are, if they were exposed to it, they probably developed symptoms and probably died. We can't be absolutely sure, but we know that they were exposed to it. This individual was probable male. Yep. We also want to look at the age, to see at what age they died. Once you're grown, it's to do with wear and tear. Things we would look at would be the joint surfaces. We think this person probably died between the age of 26 and 35. We have been doing some research to look at things like strontium and carbon and nitrogen, not only to see where they may have come from, but what their diet may have been. And what we found is there seems to be a mixture of people who were born in London and people who were born elsewhere. And of course, London was a mixture of people who were born there and people who migrated in, like today.
By that time, 14th century, massive trade and exchange all over Europe and even further afield. I mean, now, of course, the Black Death made its way by those processes. We've got a huge amount to write up and publish now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jay and the archaeologists have cracked the mystery of the Farringdon bodies.
We finally found evidence for this emergency burial ground set out in 1348, more than 600 years ago. We've got an incredibly clear picture now of these individuals and how they ended up in Charterhouse Square. And I think it's a highly significant find.
Three stops east, back at the new Canary Wharf station. With the platforms almost complete, workers are installing the ventilation system. The western elevation has 3 gaping holes, behind which 3 fans will sit. Bespoke stainless steel covers will hide this backroom machinery from view. The job of installing them falls to snappy dresser Neil Dutton.
Yeah, I've got this bit of a thing about shirts. I get them custom made. What can I say? I've got a big neck and a little body. I'm probably the best dressed construction guy on site. We have been employed to clad the whole external section of this with a stainless steel surround to get to a finished product on the outside, making it look sexy and pretty.
The station's ventilation system is critical to its operation. Crossrail is spending £26 million on platform edge doors. to separate passengers from trains and stop litter being sucked onto the tracks. But the doors cause a problem. A train rushing through a tunnel creates an almost perfect seal, forcing air in front of it. As trains pull into Canary Wharf station, pressure will build and needs releasing to avoid damaging the platform doors. So a network of ventilation shafts not only draws away brake heat, but also allows the air to escape. 3 giant fans at each end of the platform will help pull the excess air out to surface level. This should relieve the pressure and protect the platforms as trains arrive. Neil's team must crane the vent covers down from the roof, then winch them up into position.
Okay, and we're not going to leave any rough edges on this, are we? I don't want any damage or any scratches to that thing. That's the only thing.
No, they cost quite a lot of money.
I think each frame is probably, with the stainless steel, 75,000 a piece. So we've never done anything like this before. It's new to us. Gentlemen, this is a very important lift today. I don't care about time. I care about precision and safety. So let's just make sure we do this right. Before we do, I need signatures on the back of this, please.
The crew must sign up to confirm they understand the lift plan.
Have you got anyone taller than you? There's nothing better than seeing you bent over.
Yeah, we're good. This is absolutely awesome. Guys, we need to get hold of those lines. Whoa, 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 whoa. There was a little tight spot there where it was at, as you saw. That was the most concerning part. That's it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's it. Pull his ass end in over there. We on?
We're good. That's the easy part. That's the easy part, yeah.
With the first covers down, they can hoist them into position. A winch, pulley and crane hold the steel in place.
We see them as six halves. They're actually 3 units, but they're 6 halves. It does look quite spectacular. When you actually see them all completed, it's going to be quite iconic when people are actually walking. When people are actually walking by. Get down to that.
The gap to squeeze in the final vent cover is tight.
Right, when that thing's in there, it's going to look bang on, you know?
Disaster already. Milo, you never checked it, did you? The holes in the bottom and drilled too small, didn't they?
Ken, what's going on?
Jack.
You need a jack? Yeah. Why? It's got to be lifted?
The bolt holes for the last section don't line up.
It's actually just out of alignment. Every time you deal with steel or you're dealing with any sort of raw material, there's movement.
They need some muscle to force it into position.
This is the first time it's happened on the job. It's not happened with any of the other ones. That's construction. It happens.
The team tighten their nuts, securing the final vent cover into place.
This is stainless steel in its absolute perfection. Absolutely awesome. And it's just got such sexy lines to it. I mean, every building's got to have the sexy lines, and those stainless steel definitely got some sexy lines.
With the station's platforms assembled, the first escalators arrive for installation.
The escalators are one of the key operational components of the station. They're mission critical, if you like. I think of this station as a people processing facility. People need to get in it, through it and safely out of it.
London's first subterranean railways ran just a few steps down beneath the ground. But as tube lines were dug deeper, engineers needed fast ways to shuttle people down to the platforms. Filing people in and out of elevators proved too slow. One of the earliest solutions, a spiral escalator, installed at Holloway Road Tube Station in 1906. The first underground escalators, as we know them today, didn't arrive until 1911. 9 escalators will take passengers down from Canary Wharf's ticket hall to platform level. Squeezing these machines down to the basement through James's mole hole will be a challenge.
They come down on a gantry crane, so there's 4 lifts. The smallest ones are just under 2.1 tonne. The biggest lift is 6.5 tonne. Then the 4 sections get bolted together. It's a tight fit. I think the larger piece that's going to come down this afternoon is about 7 metres long. The mole hole itself is about 5 metres.
That's the biggest section, this one, on this one here. It's just getting them down now through the tight headroom is the crucial thing. If we damage them, we have to pay them. That's why we have to always have a look before they come off the lorries. No one in the yard, is there? Go round, Kev. Right, down slowly. Fingers and toes.
You have to tilt it. It's very tight. It's 50-50. But we'll get it and we'll go for it.
Ready? Down on each point, please. Down on each point.
No problem. Coming down now. Coming down.
It's a steady descent through the station's 4 floors.
Come down with your right hand voice. Nice and slow.
We've just got to tip this now to come through the hole. Yeah? Yeah. It's tight. One side through, one side ain't. We don't want to hit the sled because it'll dent the escalator, so. Just wait for the swing just to stop. Oh, that'll do. It's through there now. That'll do, yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's tight, but we knew it was always going to be tight. Yeah, go on.
With the biggest section down, the other pieces are child's play.
Right, down slowly. All the 4 sections are down. Ready to start unwrapping them and joining some sections together. I'm happy. I'll sleep tonight.
Last task, join the escalator sections together.
I love riveting. This is a very riveting job.
And raise them into position.
Go muscles. You getting it? Need a man.
No. Love it.
Up you go. Two notches up again.
That's it.
What we're seeing here is the first real link between the platform and the ticket hall. The conduits, the umbilical cord, if you like, that runs through the station, linking all the spaces.
4 years from now, these escalators will be some of the busiest on the network, carrying up to 100,000 people a day down to the trains. Two and a half miles west, at the new Whitechapel station, Jules's team has waited 3 years for the tunnelling machine to break through into their platform. This will finally connect the station into the 120-kilometre Crossrail network.
It's quite exciting. It's actually coming to fruition now.
So, quite a select few get to witness it.
Oh, I got my lovely camera here. I'm expecting to take a lot of pictures, and maybe some personal ones for the family, to hopefully be proud as I am.
The tunnelling machine has made it 3.5 metres through the concrete plug.
During the course of the next thrust forward of the CBM, we should be showing signs of breaking through the head wall at Whitechapel. So that's 900 mil in theory to the breakthrough. Is that correct?
Yeah, approximately.
Although the wall might actually collapse before that. It should do actually. Yeah, Roger. I'm with the TBM driver. Could you tell us what you can see, please? Two big cracks and steam coming out. The wall hasn't collapsed then yet, no?
Oh, there we go. First bit of muck fell off the face then, and it was on the left-hand crack. Oh, and another bit. And any minute now, that slab of foam concrete is going to fall off and show the face of TBM, I hope. There it goes. It looks like dust, but it's mainly steam that's coming in. This is more of a breakthrough for radio, isn't it, than television? Can you see the full cut head yet, or no? You can't see anything. Okay.
I haven't seen anything yet. All I've seen is dust.
One final push, and the machine pulls into Whitechapel.
See the guys, the TBM crew coming through there now, which is nice. It's sort of a welcome to Whitechapel moment.
Probably see the view through to some of the team on the Whitechapel side. Dust is settled now a bit, so there you are. You can see Whitechapel.
After 3 years of working towards the same goal, the tunnellers finally meet the station builders.
Congratulations, and well done. No problem. Spot on.
There was a lot of heat generating in the machine and a lot of steam from the other side there, you know.
So you could feel that from your
end?
end?
The heat was intense inside, yeah. It's fairly surreal, all right, to be standing out in front of what you've stood behind for so long.
But the foam concrete did its job well there. The machine cut its way out of the ground or into the station rather than barged in with large boulders falling.
Should be a photographer, shouldn't I?
You're the legend. Now I can show my mom.
1, 2, 3.
Whitechapel Station is finally connected to Crossrail's tunnels. In 4 years' time, at rush hour, 32,000 people will pass down the platforms here. At Crossrail's Canary Wharf station, Phil's team is locking the last beams into place.
Everything's going perfect, thank God. Everything is good. It's the biggest project that we've done. It's something to be proud of, I suppose.
Final piece of the jigsaw, 780 inflatable cushions that will fill the gaps and cover most of the rooftop garden. In charge of this part of the build is Roy Butcher and Christoph Schmidt.
Well, look good.
Very good.
Is it straight? Okay. He loves to hit me. I love to hit him.
That's what we call teamwork.
Teamwork, yeah.
Installing the cushions requires a head for heights. So they've assembled a crew of highly trained specialists from all over the world.
Romanians,
Hungarians, Germans,
Dutch, English.
Who's English?
You?
I'm Welsh.
Ah, you're Welsh. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Cut. They're rock climbers and mountain climbers, so they're used to heights and yes, a very skilled trade. Basically, they're just unwrapping the cushion now. Comes all folded up. They unfold it. They have to put aluminium sections which run down the edge. Then they'll connect it into the system, connect the air pipes, and blow it up. Sounds simple, a little bit more difficult.
Fitting the first cushion on the lower outside edge will be a real test. Below is a 20-metre drop.
Because we're installing the cushion almost on the vertical face, there is no area for a safety net. This is the most susceptible point of the installation, is when it's opened. If the wind catches it in, that's the worst case scenario. Once it's got the rails on it and it's attached, it's secure. We're now fitting the air inlet, so any moment now we see the cushion inflating. It is actually starting to inflate now. One done, about 750 to go. I'm a happy bunny.
It's growing, you know. It's getting more beautiful every day.
40 metres below the roof, James's 240-metre-long platforms are almost fitted out.
It's an immensely satisfying project to walk away from this. It's probably a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to work on something like this.
Brushed steel louvers add the finishing touches to Neil's vents.
It might look fancy, but the amount of engineering that's gone on this is outstanding.
It is.
I would say the whole team's proud.
And the final timber slots into place on the roof.
All our timbers are fitted. Everything is done now. So that's the problem now. I'm out here. Back to Ireland.
4 years from now, and the ticket halls open. The escalators start running. Before then, the team must lay the tracks and build the trains. London's population is set to pass 9 million in 2018. Only then will the architects of this £15 billion railway discover if Crossrail is enough to keep London moving.
The Secret History of Britain's Longest Street, Glasgow's Duke Street, this Friday at 9 here on BBC Two. And it's to Glasgow next for a comprehensive catch-up of who's won what at the Commonwealth Games.